Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business. It's weird with my business over beer. There we go. I am your host, Ben Surratt, and today is the start of my first time ever doing this, folks. Dry January. And what better person to start the dry January off with than my guest today? Guest, who are you?
Well, my name is Patrick Aleshire. I may be known as in the Milwaukee area with the Instagram 414 underscore Milwaukee. Not to be confused with 414 Milwaukee, which is the amazing clothing brand that they've been around for a long time. They are awesome. I love their stuff. But I've got the underscore Milwaukee. I also am the founder of Zero Proof Pass, the first non-alcoholic passport program in
I
existence.
Dude, that is awesome. I we're gonna get to all of that, but before we do, this is still, Patrick, this is still business over beer. So I hope you brought a beer to drink because I brought one.
I
What are you
did.
drinking?
I am actually drinking a Guinness Zero, one of my favorites, in my Guinness mug that has the word Patrick on it as well.
That is awesome. I I couldn't find that one when you said it. So I did pick up the here's gonna be tough. The Blue Moon Belgian White NA, and you said like this is pretty good, right?
I think it was great. So again, the first time I had it was at Summerfest a couple years ago, and it was a hot day, and I needed a thirst quencher, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed
Okay, I'm excited. Let's do this. Ooh, it's still a good sound. I love that sound. All right.
it.
Mm. Whoa. Whoa, before I even,
hmm
whoa, when you pop it open, that citrus, that smell, oh, it packs a punch. It is awesome. And then when you taste it, it tastes like a blue moon. It tastes
That
like a legit blue moon.
that's good. I like to hear that. So
Wow.
I hadn't had a regular Blue Moon in probably 4 or 5 years after since I had had a the NA, and so I couldn't recall exactly if I enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm not kidding. I love the Hazy by Sam Adams. We talked about that.
Yep.
But this, holy cow.
Yeah,
That's
NA.
really good for an NA.
It's come a long. They've come a long way.
Yeah, man. So let's get into your business, bro.
Yeah.
Let's just start from the beginning. What made you get into the NA part, the
Yeah.
realm?
Sure. So Ben, I stopped drinking in May of 2024.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just I like to explain to people that I had a good 20-year run. I'm in my early 40s, and when I stopped a year and a half ago, I was it was one of those things basically where the hangovers were just becoming more of an annoyance. I don't really have much of a stop button with my drinking, and so while I never had a dependency, thankfully, it was, the weekend, the Friday, the Saturday, occasional Sundays, and then just the day after was never just something where I had things to do. I was motivated to do something, and then with the drinking came the lack of motivation, the lack
Mm,
of healthy eating, not wanting to work out. And so it just got old after a while. So it led me to say, hey, you know what? It was fun, but I got other things to look forward to.
dude, I really I admire that. And the older I get, I think I told you this because you posted something about it.
Mm.
And I think I responded like, yeah, man, the older you get, it takes so much longer to recover,
Yeah.
especially when you go like if you even, but even now, my limit's two or three.
Mhm.
It's just because I just feel so awful after I'm done. And
I would have loved to been able to say like I'll have two or three, but my mind would just go, nope. Where's that dopamine? Come on, it's already leaving your body. Get some more.
yeah,
And that I had trouble with, wanting to say like, "Oh, I'll just have a few." And I live downtown Milwaukee, and so
Uh,
I'm on foot all the time. And I mean, I do have a car, but being able to drive everywhere to these to walk all these places, it just was too convenient,
yeah.
and that just led to, some poor choices.
Yeah, and I think, and this is one of the questions I had for you too, is a lot of people, and me included, I am one of these people who I use alcohol and beer as my it's social for me.
Correct.
Like I don't drink, I mean, I don't drink every day. I don't drink during the week.
Mhm.
I only keep it to weekends, but it's part of my socializing.
Sure.
Was that tough for you, like in the beginning when you decided to stop? Was that part of, or how did that look for you?
It it was tougher in my mind.
Mm,
I had these beliefs that things were going to change as far as conversations go and some of that. And so I remember clearly thinking one of my best buddies, him and I have like a standing happy hour that we do Saturday afternoons. It's usually like every 3 to 4 weeks or so. We'll get together when he's done working on his business on Saturdays, and we do usually again like between 3 and 5 o'clock for a couple hours. And we've been doing that for over a decade. And
mm,
part of me, I remember thinking like, was I was going to tell him like, hey, I'm actually done drinking for good. And I was actually worried about what he was going to say. I mean, again, we weren't hanging out all the time. We weren't bar buddies, but like every time we got together, it was usually just to have a couple drinks and catch up and ask about work and the family and friends. And I remember being a little worried. And to this day, we still go do our happy hours. He's kind of similar to you. He'll have a couple, maybe light beers. I have a couple NAs. We still laugh. We still talk. Nothing has changed.
mm.
And so I think that's initial fear that people are like, I'm not going to be able to socialize. I'm not going to be able to, be able to be myself. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think you got to just kind of get over that part of that. If you have something in your hand, I think that can kind of help.
Sure, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, a lot of it is just, and I get what you're saying. Um, and I'm going to be interested to see how I react. I mean, like I said, I don't drink during the week. It's only on weekends, but I'm interested to see how January comes with, like, how it goes with me. And, I want to give myself grace if I slip up, but
Yep,
I'm gonna go like in on it, like for real. Like when I saw your post, man, it really inspired me to really to do it. So
that's
I'm
great.
I'm serious. It really
And
did.
I appreciate that. And I think too, the other thing is that what helped me out is that no one really cares. Again, going back to really no one, I mean, there's the very small percentage of those people that are gonna give you crap. If you've got a buddy that just, and maybe they're not that good of a buddy then. But like if they're just gonna give
Right.
you hell for like, what the
Hmm.
heck, we always go to the bar, like, hey, I'm not drinking anymore or I'm taking a break. You can still go out. And Milwaukee has such a great bar scene now, and they're a majority of places are including some really great NA options. So again, if you and I were just going out and you wanted to have a beer, I could go get my NA or my mocktail
Hmm.
and still talk to you, no problem.
Yeah,
And
I love
so,
that. Yeah, I'm super excited to do this. It's going to be awesome. I want to talk about the NA space. So when you first got into, like, you made a decision you're going to do this,
mhm.
what was the first like thing that surprised you about the NA scene, I guess?
Yeah, I think in the last 5 years especially, it's come such a long way. And I had been paying attention. I'll say I was sober curious for like 3 or 4 years before I officially quit. It was just one of those,
Sober curious.
yeah, yeah, that's a legit term. Yeah. And
Is it really?
yeah,
I
seriously.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
love
a
that.
that's a big thing that's thrown around is people have an idea of like, I wonder what this is like. So they do dry January, they do 31 days, or they do sober October, or they just take a week off and just kind of see. And so what I found is that the last 5 years or so, the market has come such a long way. Not only do you have more options in the establishments? But you go to a liquor store or a grocery store and you can find something other than O'Doul's,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so it's nice for someone like myself that, or like yourself, you want to take a month off perhaps, but you still like beer, you love the taste, you can go find something that is going to be relatable. Now, I know we're probably get into this, but like talk, the one difference I would say is that people need to kind of just remember is that you're probably not going to find your exact replica. So while the Blue Moon does taste perhaps like it, and I think the Guinness Zero tastes something like it, it's not going to be 100%. No, because
Right.
there's no alcohol in it. That's
Right.
right. And so
Right.
I've had conversation with people like, oh, it doesn't taste anything like it. Like, well, I don't think it's really supposed to because they remove the alcohol from it. You
Yeah,
know, if you're,
exactly.
and really, that's the other thing too is no one, no one drinks alcohol for the taste of alcohol.
Right.
Because alcohol by itself it's disgusting.
Disgusting.
I mean, so that's the other thing. Whatever, however they brew the beer, however they mix your liquor drink, it's what they're putting into it, what they're mixing it with.
It's
And
hiding
so,
it. Yeah, it's hiding that the alcohol. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
exactly. So talk about a little bit more about the business and what made you actually decide to go all in on it. Was that something that you came up with after a while, or just talk about
yeah.
that?
It was, kind of wild actually. So this past summer, so we'll say 6 months ago, I was recording I was having a couple conversations, excuse me, with some acquaintances of mine, and they were both. One was Milwaukee, a Milwaukee area person. The other person was someone I knew on through sober Instagram.
Okay.
Call it that essentially. It's sober Instagram is nothing. It's not different than Instagram. It's just the people that I chat with on there, the sober community. Some accounts that I follow. We were having a conversation, and so the actually one person I believe you had in your podcast I was chatting with was Yvonne,
Oh,
Milwaukee
yeah.
Beer Blog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So her and I were having a conversation about the Pub Pass, which
Yes.
was obviously they've been around. They're in 15 cities. They've been around for over a decade. So awesome program that they have going on. And then I was also a week later, I was chatting with someone from the sober Instagram community, and I was out for a walk a week after that, even, and both those conversations kind of came across my mind at the same
Hmm.
time. And I thought, I wonder why there isn't any sort of discount program for non-alcoholic. Like every time I walk by the bar, every time I see a post from an establishment on Facebook or Instagram, they're always advertising for their happy hours or their nightly drink specials. It's like maybe I'd go out on a Tuesday or Wednesday just to grab an NA beer if there was some sort of discount. And so that got me thinking about, I wonder if I could make some sort of non-alcoholic passport program.
Mm.
And I stopped right there because I thought, okay, I'm going to give it like a week for this initial excitement to die down. I don't want to have any buyer's remorse of just going out and starting a business, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I ended up looking online, doing a fairly good deep dive, and there was nothing. And I thought, okay, I got to run with this here and just, start to kind of think about what this could look like. And by August, I had a website, a logo, a business plan, and then I started doing the outreach. I knew that I was going to be okay finding places. I just didn't know what that was going to look like in the first year. So I really thought I'd get maybe like 10 places and say, okay, I'll have a booklet. We'll get the word out this year, and then we'll just repeat those efforts next year. And the cutoff for getting in the booklet this year was the end of October on the 31st. And I had places contacting me that weekend and saying, hey, can we sneak in here?
Get out.
Yeah. So
So
I
how many
had
do you have?
22.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. And so I was good with like 15, and all of a sudden it was like 18, and then it was 20. And I was set on 20 because I was like, all right, I'm going to keep it $20. But then two other places got in. I'm like, I'm still going to keep it $20 because that's a nice round number. And they get it though. These establishments understand that their clientele even if it's only 20% or 10%, they're coming in and asking for NA drinks.
Dang.
So I thought, well, hey, this is this doesn't cost the establishments anything. Okay. So all they're doing is parting with buy one, get one, or a half off, or whatever deal
Yeah.
that they're offering. But it's bringing in all these people that are going to spend more money. They're going to order food. They're going to tell their friends. And I like the variety, which again, I'm not nothing against Pub Pass because they've been doing it well. They have an app, they have their little booklet.
Hmm.
What I like about ours is that it's NA beer, it's mocktails, it's NA spirits, it's hop water. There's a whole variety you can choose from. It depends on what the place is offering, but
Hmm.
you have that more of a variety versus just a tap beer.
Yeah. I was that close of getting a hop water too when I couldn't find the Guinness Zero. But then I saw this. I'm like, because I love hop water. Hop water is good anyway. I just think it's
Hmm.
delicious.
Yeah.
But
So
go ahead.
yeah, so I it kind of led to the promotion side of it and getting the word out and then getting these books printed and then
Yeah.
in the hands of the public. And so that's kind of where we're at now with, the new year rolling around here, rolling up here shortly.
And you got some promo on TV, didn't you? Like,
I did. That was fantastic. I was really
what was
fortunate.
that like when you saw like, oh, geez, what was that like?
So the funny when I got the email from WISN Channel 12. I was in Madison. I was actually out there promoting the passport to try to get something going in Madison. And so that's something
That's smart.
I have plans for 2026. It's not ready yet, but we're working on getting some of those establishments. And I will say that with the service industry, especially going in person is a lot easier. So especially in Milwaukee where I live. And so easier to form those relationships that way. But
Mm.
I had just gotten to a coffee shop in Madison, so I was planning out my day, and I opened up my email, and it was Mallory Anderson from WISN. Now, granted, I had reached out to them to say, "Hey,
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got this new product, and it might fit into the sober community, people that are taking a break." And she loved it, and she was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I was like, "Holy
Dude,
crap!"
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, fortunately I had about a month to kind of prepare. So the first couple days I was like jittery and then all right, we'll get all this other stuff going and then yeah, that was right before Christmas, so it was pretty sweet.
So what's been the feedback from that? Have you had more people try to get on the passport or the yeah.
Not as far as businesses go. I think they're just so tied up with end of the year and everything. But as far as the sales go, that was a great outreach. I mean, a great response. It's always fun when you get orders come in from people you don't know.
Hmm.
And so those orders are coming in. I'm like, oh, don't know you, don't know you. Awesome. Send me your stuff. So that's been fun. But yeah, we had some really good responses so far. And I'm looking forward to more of the promotions that are coming in January. So I've got a handful of people that are doing some outreach for me,
Awesome.
including myself doing some of that. So
Well, I'm sure. And marketing is good. It's half, marketing is you never stop marketing
correct.
ever.
Yes.
It's just going to keep doing it, man.
Well, my buddy was telling me we were out last weekend and he's got his own business as well. And so obviously doing this part time, but he said, yeah, well, you're never gonna
Yeah.
not stop thinking about it. So
Yeah.
just like, hey, have fun. It's always
Yeah.
you're always gonna be thinking about it. I'm like, I know. What am I doing?
Um, let's keep going. So, you've been in the sober, what'd you call it? It's the, what is it?
Like sober curious?
Yeah, sober curious, but you've been
Yeah.
you've been in the sober community for over a year now.
Yes. About 19 months, something like that.
So, what's the biggest misconception about maybe do both, maybe about the NA community and then the sober community too? What's is it hand in
Okay.
hand or what are the biggest misconceptions?
Okay. We'll start with the sober community. I will say that if we're talking about just as far as being sober, I think the misconception is that it's going to be boring, you're not going to have a
Hmm.
life, and that's just not true. right? It's like we create our own happiness. That's up to us individually. Are you going to have so many exciting times being out till 1 in the morning? Probably not if you're not drinking. However, you're going to thank yourself the next day. And I will
Yeah.
say one of the best quotes I had heard years ago was play the tape forward. So
Ooh.
when I'm about to crack open that fifth or sixth beer, a little harder to do, but let's say I'm going to crack open that first beer, play the tape forward. What's this going to lead to? It's going to
Mm.
lead to a shot. It's going to lead to some wine. It's going to lead to a mixer. I have stuff to do tomorrow morning. That's not going to be great. I don't want to be hungover. So you play the tape forward. What's that look like in a few
Mhm.
hours? And so that was a really good one that I enjoyed. I will say as far as like NA community, looking at like social media and stuff, the you just meet so many cool people and there's so many individuals that love NA options. So whether it's beer, whether it's mocktails, you can go on there and find some really good reviews. There's so many people that are offering, different reviews on their own NA beer that they find or that are creating some sort of business. So I've got a friend in Chicago. She started up, it's called NAPS, NAPS,
Naps.
non-alcoholic party scene, and it's based in Chicago. So she
That's
started
awesome.
working with these different businesses like Go Brewing based out of Naperville. She partners with them, does some, she's like an ambassador for them and runs their program. And so she's able to go around and help push their product, but she also does different events in the NA space for people to go out and have a good time. Go do karaoke, go
Y-
do without being buzzed.
Right. I love
There's
that.
there's another friend of mine who was out in Philadelphia, and he partnered with another gentleman, and they started a non-alcoholic beer market. So
Okay.
essentially, what that looks like is it's twofold. You can either get a monthly subscription for $60 and you get 12 beers, random beers picked out, or you can select which ones you want. And
That's
over
cool.
and it's stuff that you're not going to find at your local grocery store. It's stuff that
Yeah.
they've kind of scoured the internet for, and it's pretty cool. I like that idea. They just did a advent calendar for the holidays.
That's awesome.
It was a little pricey, I will say,
Oh,
but
I'm sure.
it was, I mean, 20, but you had people doing these reviews and it was unboxing their day 7, day 8, whatever. And it was really cool just to kind of see, the people get joy out of the beverage itself. So people that have stopped drinking, they're like, I love this beer right now. This is my routine after work. I crack open my NA,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah, I can see that for sure. I mean, for me, like I said before, like the beer, I love the beer because a lot of it is I love the camaraderie that
Yeah,
comes along with it. And I could go into a tap house by myself and not have a problem picking up a conversation.
for sure.
And I think, part of me, like I said, is fearful of that, but I'm excited too, um, to see, and because I want to go to some of the places that you recommend. Like I'm just going to go and just check them out, um, over in January.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah,
But
of course.
um, the when so I've had a lot of friends and a lot of just people I know
Mhm.
who stopped drinking. And what surprised me most was it wasn't necessarily about um like the sobriety part. It was
Mhm.
more about I want to get physically healthy or my mental health is taking a hit. What has been your experience now that you've been, well, almost 2 years now
Mhm.
sober? Uh, Have you noticed, like, is it mostly about sobriety? Is it mostly about just moderation? Is it all of it? What have you noticed more?
Sleep. I, I have a Fitbit, but if you have a Apple Watch or tracker or whatever, the it's comical what alcohol does to your sleep.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, it helps put me to sleep." Mm, no, it doesn't. It Yes, you might be passing out quicker, but that's not, the REMs are jacked up. You're not getting the sleep that your body actually needs. I have a, so I have a, I'm an old school. I got the Fitbit, but what it does is it tracks gives you a sleep score. And again, I don't know the science behind it, but it gives you a range. And I have looked back at when I was drinking where, I'd keep like a month or so, and you could always tell the weekends when they would come because the sleep would get progressively worse.
Oh,
So my
interesting.
my sleep score when let's say I'm having a drink or drinks would be anywhere from like 65 to like 75 as far as the score goes out of 100. Okay. In the last year and a half, I average high 80s.
Dang, man.
I had a 90, I think the highest I've gotten is a 93. I don't know how to get any higher. My brother's got an Apple Watch and he's like, I hit 98. I'm like, whatever. So my brother has also he still drinks very infrequently and
Yeah.
but he's also one that I didn't tell him I've never told anyone to stop drinking and I never will unless obviously if I had someone close to me that was like, hey, maybe, but that's a different conversation. But I just introduced my brother's younger than I am, 7 years apart. I just introduced to him to some NA beers at like a family thing. He's like, oh, what are you drinking? I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Why don't you here have one? And he found that he goes, I actually like a bunch of these, and he's gotten into running over the last couple of years. So if he
Mm.
can get up and go for a run on the weekend and not even be slightly hungover,
Oh, it's a game
it's
changer, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
100%.
to answer your question, I would say, the sleep part for sure. But I think just moderation, it can work for some. I know there's programs out there and people have an idea, but I just never got to a point where I wanted to do that because then you're always thinking about it. So for me, it was like, well, okay, I'm doing moderation. Again, I was like you, I didn't drink during the week.
Right.
So, but it was like Thursday night sometimes, but then like Friday, Saturday,
Right. Yeah.
and I didn't normally didn't drink on Sundays, occasionally
Right.
maybe in the summer, but
Yeah.
I'm a former teacher years ago and I didn't want to drink when I had the kids the next day because it was already miserable enough. So that's why I left teaching. No, but the that whole idea of well, okay, well, if it's the weekend, should I drink this weekend? I've got do this or that, and now I don't have to think about it. I don't drink, so I don't have to
Yeah.
even think about if I'm gonna have something.
Yeah.
So that for me has been, and again, it works if you're similar to other people where I can have one or two and be good. That's that's great. It
Hmm.
just doesn't always work,
Yeah.
for everyone. Again,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's all the time. Like I have
no,
one or
no,
two,
no.
but like like I feel it. Like I feel, um, man, and I hit a wall and it's done. And
Well, I don't know if you're like me, but I would. My problem was I would have because I really used to love beer, but I also loved other alcohol. So I
yeah.
would get I'm full on beer. Now someone might be like, okay, probably should go home. I'm like, well, I need to like cleanse my palate. Can I take a vodka and something else? Give me
Jeez.
yeah, and then
Oh.
it's time for an espresso martini. That's a bad idea, but I'll have one and one more. And here we are.
We lived in the Pacific Northwest for almost 20
Yeah,
years.
very cool.
And so we would go live in Southwest Washington. The beer scene is phenomenal there, by the way. But we'd go across to Portland, to Oregon, and we would always end the night with Spanish coffee because they were amazing.
What is that?
It's coffee and I forgot the liqueur. My wife, she's the
Sure.
bartender. But it was like, okay, we knew that that wasn't the end of the night.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna end it with a Spanish coffee. Okay.
So now
Five.
you got the caffeine. You're like, oh, I'm ready for more.
It's like that meme, 5 minutes later. Like,
Right?
it's also like, oh, anyways. Um, so I know exactly what you're talking about. What advice would you give to somebody who is just um sober curious?
Mhm.
What's the advice that you would give? Just one piece of advice.
I would say give it a month. So if you want to start with dry January, great. But like anything, you think people think, oh, I tried for a weekend and I didn't like it. Well, you didn't give yourself enough time.
Uh,
There's that. What I think is kind of a misconception is they say to form a good habit, it takes like 3 weeks. Okay. I think
yeah.
it's closer to like 3 months because
Mm,
really you can do anything for 21 days. But, and how quickly it, in reverse, how quickly you can get out of that habit or
mm,
form a bad habit, right? Just takes like a
hmm.
day or two, right?
Yeah.
So I would say give it time. Whether you need to like journal with your thoughts or go talk to someone, but sit with that feeling because alcohol doesn't solve your problems. It just pushes them away. So I go to drink because I want to take my mind off of something, right? But the reality is it's the problem's still there. And so that was what I wasn't never necessarily a drinker just to get rid of my thoughts. It was more of a this is fun. I
Right.
like the buzz, the social aspect as you mentioned, but whatever I still was forgetting about that night, still there the next day.
Yeah.
And so that's something for someone like myself who doesn't drink, you have to face your issues, face and life's it's not peachy, it's not 100%, it's not perfect. It's not going to
Hmm.
be when you quit drinking. There's still life gets in the way.
Mm,
So I would say give it at least a month. And I think in a matter of 30 days, you'll feel a lot different and think of a like a oh, kind of like that. I got really good sleep. I noticed maybe my skin was clearing up. Maybe you lost some weight. You just felt overall healthier.
hmm.
Food choices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because those munchies are gone too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So that's probably the best piece of advice, and you have to do it for yourself, not for anyone else.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing too. I'm glad you said that. You know, one of the things that like, and you touched on it too, is hanging out with your buddies who you were your drinking buddies back in the day and trying to explain what you're doing to them, and you
Hmm.
don't want to alienate them either, but you don't want to come under the quote unquote wrath
Correct.
of that. Um, do you have advice on that?
I think the best thing to do with that is to you can either just make something up, um, and or you can just say what's on your mind and just be ready for what they say. A good friend obviously is going to understand. So even
Exactly.
when I told my really good friend like, "Hey, he was like, "That's awesome." Oh,
Hmm.
okay. And we're still hanging out, having those conversations, a year and a half later. But it could be something like, "Hey, I'm uh on medication or something." You could just make
Yeah.
something up. It doesn't have to be until you're ready to say, "Hey, I'm maybe trying to cut back," or I mean, the studies are out there now. It's not necessarily alcohol is not necessarily the healthiest thing for you. So, you know,
And doesn't it take, and maybe, and I thought I read this somewhere, but doesn't it take like a long time before the alcohol actually leaves your system after a
yeah,
while? It
I
takes a long, long time.
yeah, I think it's a couple days or something like
It
that.
takes a while.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's maybe not the effects necessarily, but still, so that's why, again, you look at like a timeline of between 0 and 72 hours and then to a week to 2 weeks to 2 months going, you can see those benefits, you know?
I love that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd say another quote I really like too is that, make sure I get this right. You'll never wake up from a night of not drinking and think, oh, I wish I would have drank last night and got wasted. Right? Where
That's a good
we've
point.
we've all had those like, oh, why did I drink so
Why
much?
did I do that?
And what you mentioned too with getting older, my uncle
Mm,
used to tell me this quote years ago, and I always thought it was funny because I was still drinking at the time, and I'm like, whatever. But he said when you get to my age, so if you're out on a Friday night, let's say, you wake up the next day and you're praying for Monday.
Yeah, I
Just
know. I
get this
know.
feeling over with. I want to go back to my work and
Yep. It's crazy. And that fog, man, it lasts. It's insane. And
that
I know.
isn't it weird? It's sometimes that's even the toughest part. I mean, I've had some very brutal hangovers over, in my 20-year run, as I like to
Oh
mention.
yeah.
Obviously the nausea and the spins and the headaches, but the older I got, I would have fog sometimes up to like 3, 4, 5 days where
Yes.
scary. Like, and I think I did some damage, obviously that that time, but like this isn't good. And then the day it goes away, you're like, whoa. And I
Yep.
will tell you, as good as coffee
And then it's
tastes,
Friday again.
yeah, I know. As good as coffee tastes with maybe a little hangover, I will say coffee when you're completely sober or not drinking, amazing.
So much better. Let's talk about Milwaukee. And I'm curious about this. And I sent you these questions because Milwaukee is known for the beer and for the alcohol and all that.
Yep.
So what was it like building your brand
hmm
in a place like Milwaukee? Like what was that experience like?
So with the zero proof pass, I essentially to build that up, it was looking around at places that had things listed on their website to start. So I was
Okay.
already thinking about it from the customer side of, okay, I've got this passport, it's got all these locations. Just like we all do, I want to see if we're going to go out to eat somewhere. I got to check the menu ahead of time. That's
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, we
yeah,
all do that now. Oh
right,
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to see what they have for NA options. And so I was looking for places because that gave me a good idea of what on not only what they had, but two that they're putting time into these options, right?
Sure.
The second part was what are they going to be able to offer? So the difference between which anyone can see this online or if they have the book already. The difference between this and let's say Pub Pass, which again I'm fine talking about because they're great. I don't consider them necessarily a competitor because mine's NA, theirs is alcohol.
Yeah.
But the difference is that you pay $25 for their book and you're going to mostly to breweries or tap rooms, okay? Um, and you get your free beer, okay? Where with the NA space, I knew the margins were going to be a little bit different. So I wasn't expecting these places to give away free non-alcohol. Okay.
Hmm.
But I wanted to make sense for the consumer, but also for them. And that was the
Mm.
wording I used. And so I recommended either a buy one, get one or a half off or pick a dollar amount for your drink. So let's say you normally sell a beer for $6. If you want to mark it down to 2 or 3,
Mm.
great. Okay. Or you want to come up with something even more creative. So a
Right.
couple of the places have done 50% off a mocktail and then 25% off a food item. Perfect. Okay. So I needed to have it make sense for both parties. So it was just essentially looking on, and I knew a lot of these places had stuff already, but then just going in there and getting all of the right people, seeing like trying to propose this to them like, hey, this is free for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring more people in here. You just have to part with that discount, whatever that is. And it's only one time per person, for per booklet.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much of a stretch.
Yeah.
So fairly low lift. And
Are
so
you gonna are you gonna do stuff? I'm just curious too because we do and maybe it's in the works, but like for like festivals and stuff like that too, do something like that. I don't know if you thought about that. Like, I
so
don't know.
we've definitely had we have some stuff in the works as well as planned out. So for example, Um, NA Day is coming up. I don't know if this podcast will be up by then, but it's the first weekend in January, so it's the third. That's a big thing run. That's run at the Cooperage. That's run by Milwaukee Record.
Okay.
They put that on every year, so
Oh,
we're gonna be at that festival uh, on Saturday the third for that. And that's a ticketed event where you I think it's $20, and then you get to sample like dozens of NA options. So whatever the organizations that are there. I was also invited to have the passports there as well. So we're doing that.
that's cool.
One of the other locations has offered or has announced a NA Fest that they're going to do. So Mobcraft's going to be coming up with one on the 17th of January.
Okay.
So that's something, hey, you want to come to that and have your book there? We're going to be scheduling something at Pop in Walker's Point, an
Okay.
event that they're having as well for the NA Pass. And they're going to have some different NA specials that night
Yeah.
as well as that. So I can see this going on throughout the year too. So any of these fests, come up, reaching out to those businesses and saying, "Hey, are you interested in having me?" I think it works better when it's places that are in the booklet.
Sure. Oh, 100%. I mean, and I would think too, and I just love your business model, man. I think it's awesome. But like, do you think there's even something with either, like even like ride share or the cabs or something like that where you can partner with them too? Has that come up?
That's an idea I have down. I haven't done anything with it yet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a kind of a running Google sheet of having conversations like this and oh, have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? Nope, I haven't. That's a great idea. Let me put it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, even partnering with, I've heard, even partnering with like Quick Trip and stuff like that, where,
Sure. Absolutely, man.
I do have consignment on some of these that are in the booklet, but really doing that reach out to these places in the area that have it. And I think, yeah, the rideshare thing would be great. I'd have to kind of plan out how I kind of want that to look, but
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of possibilities. And then even looking into later this year or in 2026. I'm already thinking about like how can I do this for like March Madness, like have some sort of bracket, with the beer or the options they have and the
I
places and do like
love
a
that
a
idea.
Sweet 16 and I'm already kind of turning the wheels on that and how can we keep this momentum going throughout the whole year because dry
Right.
January is only 31 days.
Hmm.
Okay, well, the passport's going to be there all year and I another thing I'll mention is that I've already changed up my LLC, and so I'm already
Oh,
thinking of so I've got Zero Proof Pass is the product. The LLC is now Zero Proof Ventures because
ah,
I'm already thinking down the line. We've got events, we've got merchandise, we all that stuff, and so when you look at the idea of like trademarking and things it's let's keep the pass as far as the product goes, but the parent company.
I love that.
So
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
it's a
And the more I think, I'm just thinking here. I'm like, man, you have so many avenues. The Bucks, the Brewers, the Packer.
mhm.
I mean, all of them.
I've reached out and we I did a little quick little partner thing with Recovery at Marquette, so their
Mm,
program. Now I will say that in some of these other universities they have these the conversation it's not of a I would say a delicate conversation, but you're going to have a large majority of people that are in recovery centers and part of these programs that need to completely stay away from the bar scene, and that's what I completely understand. But if it's someone that's comfortable having an NA and they want to go out then that's
hmm.
great. But if you're someone who obviously had some issues and you end up having to go to some sort of center, probably not a good idea to put you in front of liquor. And so that wouldn't be my main clientele. But yeah, you're right. There's so many possibilities. And then we're just talking Milwaukee here, but
Oh, dude.
this if this works in Milwaukee,
It'll work in Chicago.
yep,
It'll work in
Madison,
Madison.
Twin Cities.
It'll work in Twin Cities. Sure. I mean, it could be, dude, it could work everywhere in every major city.
Mhm.
And that's smart. You're hitting the college towns too.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Well, because I mean, Gen Z is they're kind of the leaders in this push of
Yeah.
that are not drinking as much as all the other generations.
It's funny you say that too, because I interviewed a couple of brewers, brewery owner brewers,
Mhm.
and they're saying that the past like 2 or 3 years they've noticed beer sales go down. And they directly contributed to the Gen Z era because
Hmm.
they're not interested in drinking. They're a lot of them are interested in the other stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
Right. Well, you're right, because the craft beer had a nice little,
A huge
yeah,
surge.
late 2010s, we'll
Oh
say,
yeah,
like
yep.
right? that 2010s, a huge surge, and then it kind of plateaued, and then all the seltzers came out. So your White Claws and all that, that started to be the thing. And
Yep.
now it's this, and again, NA is not going to catch up anytime soon. But when I'm going into places and I say, hey, like, what would you, if you had to guess, if you don't mind sharing, if you had to guess how many NA, what are your sales in NA? How many people come in here and ask? And I'm hearing close to 10%,
That's
12%.
crazy.
Like, that's
That's
a huge
crazy.
number.
That's huge. That's
Now,
crazy.
it's I want obviously this all to work for them. I know that the maybe the margins aren't as great just because of the cost of still to make these NAs, and that's another misconception too. Why did the NA drink cost so much? Well,
Because the process is pretty
the
much the same.
yeah, it's exactly. So that's where uh it's just kind of funny in some of those people this misconceptions
Yeah.
of all that. And I'm okay because if I go and have a couple NA beers at a bar and that cost me $12, that wasn't $90 that I was going to spend on alcohol and food.
Yeah. Amen to that. And the other thing too, man, and it's like, and I know a lot of my brewery friends won't want to hear this, but this is a great opportunity to pivot and to get outside of your comfort zone and to experiment on different things.
Mhm.
Why not experiment on a different kind of NA or like this is a good time to experiment
Right.
and to see because you don't know what's going to catch on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
I
as a
completely.
business owner, you have to be able and willing to do that.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I would say that I really love all 22 places we have in the booklet. And then there's a handful I love that I would have loved if they were in there and it just didn't work out. I
Hmm.
mean, I was kind of already I didn't want to go really any higher. I mean, 25 was been the max because I'm like, I'm not selling this book for more than $20. So,
Hmm.
but I will say that kind of alluding to what you were mentioning is that not only kind of getting with the program of sorts, but you have to have stuff on your menu. You have to start listing that stuff. And then the places that maybe again their clientele are those regulars. They don't really
Exactly.
cater to that. But the thing is though, people are going to want to come in and they're going to want an NA drink. And if you only have one macro beer, which was kind of if you have a O'Doul's or you have
Yeah,
just the Busch Light NA or Bud Zero NA, like people can go get that at the store. I want something a little bit
exactly.
different. So that's the idea of the zero proof pass as well, is we kind of made it more of the, you know, craft scene. Okay. So I wanted places to offer, if they're going to offer any NA beverage, I want to say on their passport to say buy one, get one, any NA. Because if
Mm.
someone chooses the Heineken Zero, that's great. If that's what they like, but I don't want your special just to be that macro. Okay.
Well, think about it when the craft beer scene before it caught fire. I mean, yeah, people could get a Bud Light, and if they order that at your place, fine, you have it.
Yeah.
But you're offering them something different that they
Hmm.
may like and come back for more, or
Yes.
talk about it and know somebody who does like that, and they will come back. I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity for business owners to actually, just man, expand your reach, expand who you're selling to. I mean, why not? What's the worst that happens? You like more people come into your business. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, oh, dude, we are flying through this. I got a couple more questions for you, okay?
Sure.
So I talk a lot about mental health and
Sure.
I talk publicly about, I've always had in 2016 was my first panic attack
Okay.
and I haven't had one in a long time, but being aware of it and
Hmm.
mindful of it. Um, Talk a little bit about how, in your experience with maybe talking with other people that overlap with, uh, you know, just the burnout of alcohol and the burnout of just like having, like you kind of talked about earlier too, of hiding from your troubles and using alcohol as
Hmm.
that way to escape. Just talk a little bit about that, I guess, if you have anything on that.
Yeah. I think anxiety is real.
Anxiety. Dude, you got
Hang
some great, you got, I love it. Anxiety. Yes, I
that's
know exactly what that is.
Yeah, that is that Sunday night. You've already got the blues because it's a Sunday, but you're basically a mix of anxious but also hungover, and it's because you went a little too hard on Friday and probably Saturday. That is legit, and that can linger. And so what I found too is giving up alcohol is that I don't I don't get the scaries, and
Yeah.
part of that years ago was Sunday Scaries was my career. So as a former teacher, I've switched now to learning development. So I train adults essentially who sometimes act like kids, but it's a much different space and something I love it. And but I don't get that without drinking. There's no that life's gonna happen, right? And
Mm.
so but the anxiety, that extra stress from not dealing with those issues, wait, is pushing it off. And then it's the whole, we went out the night before, so now we're gonna go take a, bite out of the dog, like all that's just pushing it off. That's actually not,
Yeah.
that doesn't make you feel better. What you're doing is you're putting more alcohol back in your bloodstream and you're just
Mm.
prolonging the hangover for later,
Yeah.
prolonging those issues that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, that the mental health side, I mean, sleep probably my favorite for sure. Coming from this, much better sleep, but also not having that as being as anxious as I once
Mm.
was, or having the stress.
Yeah. As a, I was raised by educators, by the way. So my mom was a teacher, my dad was a teacher, so I was raised by them. When you were, are you still teaching or not? Are you
No,
done?
no, yeah. So
Okay.
I left in 2017.
Okay. Okay. Um, did you notice that a lot of them were like heavy drinker? A lot of teachers were like really heavy drinkers, or is that me?
We we had I have a couple in mind that I that we would, yeah, we would kind of joke about, like, they're out again.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I mean, it's just something I noticed growing up and around them. My parents are pretty good, but man, some of their friends were like, whoa. Like, I just left elementary school
Oh,
and I see you on a Saturday and they're getting tore up.
I used to get the hey, my mom said she saw you over the weekend. And then I would say, okay, what day was that? And then, do you know what time? Because that would be my level of embarrassment would either, but I will tell you, Ben, I've shared this with others, and I think it's a pretty good kind of a motto in life to use, but I used it at parent teacher conferences. My rule was a parent would come in and say, "Oh, did they tell you what happened at home or whatever, blah blah blah." And I'd say, "Okay, let me just stop you right there. Here's my rule that we're going to use all year long." And so I'd say to these parents, I'm going to believe 50% of the things that your child tells me about you and it goes on at home if you do the same for me. So it was anytime something came up, I'd be like, maybe that happened, maybe it didn't. And they'd go home, oh, Mr. Aleshire did this. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know, 50%. So that usually just put all their fears to the side and mine too.
Uh, um, ever since you became sober and you started your venture,
Yeah.
has it changed how you show up socially? Like, has it changed how you view people and view interactions? Are you more of an observer now than I don't know.
I think you kind of have to be, just because you're not you don't lose your focus as much, right?
Right.
But nothing has changed as far as how I view others. I used to be in that boat of wanting to go out and have a good time and drinking, and I don't look down on anyone because my thing is I worry about myself. Okay,
Mm.
that's pretty much, obviously my family, friends, but like I'm worrying about me on a day-to-day basis, and so we could all choose to do what we'd like. Now, I like that there's more information coming
Hmm.
out about alcohol and the side effects, and how it's not great for you, but this is the same thing with cigarettes years ago.
Oh,
Okay? Cigarettes, used to be so commonplace. You used to be able to smoke on a plane and inside buildings, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's not cool. We shouldn't have a camel telling people how awesome this is. So they stopped that.
I
And
remember that.
yeah, and now we have a surgeon general who's saying we should put these labels on the label that it could possibly cause cancer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, people should probably be aware of that. And
Yeah.
so, but again, it's not a, oh, don't do that. I've never told anyone that. I think though, just like when I'm out, which I don't go out for as long as I do because I get bored or I get full.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the one of the best things is I will crack open a couple you'll have to let me know if you happen to have this happen to you is that I'll have a couple beers, two or three maybe NAs, and then I'm like, oh,
Bull.
I'm kind of full. And so whereas that meter wasn't running when I was drinking, it was like, well, I'll just switch to something else. I'm full from beer. That was my whole thing. I'm full from beer. I need some wine.
Yeah.
I need a mixer. What does that even mean, right? I'm full from that. I'm gonna try something else. It's like when you're younger. Well, you're not getting any dessert. Well, I'm just full from my veggies. I want a cake. I want a cookie. You said you're full. Well, just from that.
Yeah,
So
I'm full of this.
yeah, I've done. I mean, I wonder how much money I spent ordering a drink and
Leaving it.
and then being like, I don't want that beer anymore. I'll take this. I'll pay for that. It's fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. But a lot of times it was like, okay, that was just a $16 vodka soda because I already paid $9 for the beer that I'm not going to drink. Your mind wanders and it takes you all over the place. And I like having a little bit more clear mind, you know,
Oh,
get,
dude. Yeah.
getting
I'm
it to
excited.
getting to leave when you want. Like it just get
Mm.
okay, this is fun. All right, see you guys. Versus like the long drawn out, goodbye.
Were you hit up a lot? This is a kind of weird question. Not really, but were you hit up a lot to be the designated driver?
I would say no because I no my friend group are out in the burbs. They've got their own families started and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So no,
Oh yeah,
normal.
that's right, because you live
I'm
downtown.
yeah, I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
downtown.
yeah.
So it was more so just a I still like to go frequent places and give them business. And so it
Yeah.
was more so just like, hey, how's it going? And remembering those conversations
Mm.
and thinking like, I think last time I was in here, you probably told me I should go home. Tell one of the bartenders, they're like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, sorry about that. You want to hear the ultimate story is
Yeah.
my last day drinking
Okay.
was a sweet 16 birthday party for a dog.
Oh, wait, man. That was your post. Explain that to people. Yes.
Yes.
Please talk
So
about that.
I am good friends with the owners of Riley's Social House in the Third Ward.
Oh.
Fantastic spot. And Riley crossed the Rainbow Bridge recently, so rest
Mm.
in peace, little doggy. But I was there for Riley's 16th birthday party. They did a block party in May of 2024. And I went there during the day. I brought my dog for a couple hours, and then that's pretty much the most she could handle of
Is that
interacting.
is that is that her in the back there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's laying on the couch. Yeah, little Callie. And so I took her back home. And again, this was like day drinking. So I had a few beers at Riley's, took her back home. We walked back, as again, went downtown. And then I took her back home and I went to another place to grab some food and a beer. And I sat there thinking, okay, I'm probably gonna go home now. But I thought, well, that party's still going on. So my mind was like, let's walk back over there. And then I hung out there for a few more hours. And the next day I was definitely feeling it. And that was the last day I consumed alcohol. It was just
Was it the hangover or was it just all of it? Were you just like, ugh, I'm just sick of it?
so Ben, what I had told myself about 2 years ago, I had a really rough hangover right around Christmas time. It was like the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. And I thought, you know what? I was still drinking at the time, obviously. And so I thought, I'm going to take a full year off. I think I've done these like, 3 months here, 4 months there. And a lot of that I mentioned I was sober curious for like some years. A lot of that was like fitness related or just, I need a break. And I knew I could do 3, 4 months, no problem. But I thought, okay, if I really want to figure this out, I'm going to take a full year off. That'd be great.
Hmm.
So I got to like March. So like 3 months later. And then it crept back in of like, I don't know if I think I can figure it out now. I don't know if I'm totally ready to not have alcohol anymore. My buddies were like, well, you do whatever you want. You're like, it's your life, man. Like, we're not going to stop you, but also
Yep.
like, if you want to drink, go drink. Okay. So I started drinking right around like mid-March, March Madness, all that stuff.
Mm.
6 weeks later was the birthday party. And that was okay, I tried this for 6 weeks. Now I just had a really crappy hangover. The first one I've had since I started drinking again.
Okay.
This clearly it's not working.
Mm.
And so if I want to keep having these conversations with myself every few months, sure. Or I can just say, you know what? It's not working. And I haven't missed it since. Because I've done so many of those breaks, and I know that the NA space is so good right now
Yeah.
with the beer, the mocktails, all that stuff. Even if you like the seltzers, like they have the White
Hmm.
Claw Zero, and during the summertime, that's great. Like just to have a something to hold on to,
Yeah.
right? That's a
Yep.
big part of it is to when you're going out somewhere, you want to have just something to hold on to. That makes me more comfortable if I'm at a concert or a bar where I can just have something.
Yeah. Where do you, oh man, we are running out of time, man. I have so many questions for you though, bro. Um, so let's get into the, okay. So where do you see, if we're going to have this conversation again in 5 years,
Yep.
what do you hope has, what do you hope has like changed about how people view, or what would be the hope of the conversation look like? What would be the hope for you?
I would think and I hope that the NA space continues to grow. I that people are a little bit more willing to get uncomfortable and try not drinking if that's something that has actually crossed their mind. Because there's one part of it where you've thought about it. Maybe not everyone has, but a time where you woke up like, oh, I'm never drinking again. Like I've said that many times in my
Oh,
life,
many
right?
times. Yeah.
But why do we say that? Is that because we had the hangover and we don't like how we're feeling? Or do we think like, oh, I wonder if I can feel like this or not like this more often? And so I think just in the future to continue the space is going to grow, having, even more NA options at some of these establishments would be great. I mean, Milwaukee's done a really good job, but it's not perfect. I go into some places and I've said like, okay, this is not going to be a good spot for the pass because they're out of the two options that they had.
Mm,
Now I'm going to go next door. Now you just lost some business, and I'm probably going to
mm,
remember that for next time to say, I don't want to go there because last time I went there, you know,
yeah.
be prepared. It's like a bar in Milwaukee on a Friday night running out of Miller Lite. Like that would be
Mm,
a very crucial mistake
yeah.
during
Yeah.
a game or Packer game or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so I think just continuing to push the message out there. I'm not one who's gonna, on my social media gonna be harping on people that drink or just talking about how negative it is because I don't need to do that. That's other people's jobs. But just to promote those options, just to have these influencers, to have these other people out there speaking good about it,
Yeah.
and I think that can really go a long way. And having obviously the zero proof pass be in a lot of places, which it will be.
Amen. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Um, have you, I got a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So, when you talk to these business owners, do you have to kind of, is there an educational moment like on why you're doing what you're doing? Do you have to have that conversation? And is it awkward?
the first couple I had were awkward because I hadn't really perfected my pitch of what
Hmm.
I wanted to look like. And I had a place, not in Milwaukee, out in Waukesha County area that he kind of cut me off and he said, well, why are you different than the 30 other people that come around and try to, sell this on me? And I said, I think you misunderstood my first part of this. I said, this is non-alcoholic. So I said, I'm almost positive no one's come to you with this because I'm the first one that came up with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that got them to like, oh, okay. And then he basically said, well, I cater more to I have the any options on there just for people that, and I didn't want to get in. It was one of my first pitches, so I didn't want to get into the idea of like, well, you're missing out on a whole market. But I'd say the education piece, it wasn't as tough as I thought. So I go in there and say, hey, I noticed I'm finding places that have a lot of good NA options. And so
Right. Okay.
it says,
Yeah.
"Hey, you've clearly put some time into your menu here. It sounds like you're getting a lot of people to come in to order these drinks. How would you feel if we get more people in and that they come back and they spend more money?" So I've got this idea of a passport. It's similar to all your other passports out there, but this is for the NA space. And I can throw out the stat of the recent Gallup poll in 2025 that came out that if you are familiar with that, they poll people every year about adults that admit to drinking alcohol. And 2025, it was 54% admitted to drinking alcohol, which was the lowest since 1958.
No way.
Right. It was off by like, a percentage point, but still 19. I mean, that's a sign. So, and they sample, 1,000 people or whatever, but
No way.
yeah, the annual Gallup poll of how many people admit to consuming alcohol ever or on any basis. And
Holy cow. I had
so
no idea.
it obviously it went up during COVID,
Yeah.
went down a little bit, but I mean, even if it's a half percentage or percentage point since 1958.
1958. Wow.
So that tells you we talked about the Gen Z. I have in my promotion material, I talk about the phrase, which I think I stole from them, is zebra striping, which is alternating beverages.
Ah.
That would be like if I was responsible when I was drinking, that'd be like, oh, maybe I'll take a water or an NA beer. But my whole thought process was, why would I want to dilute my buzz? So, you know,
Right.
but generations are doing that now. Groups of people are doing that. And that's I stole the quote from someone I saw online. I was like, I love that idea. That's of actually if you're in your mid 20s, you have energy to go out until 1 or 2 in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yep.
So but you're like, oh, I've got stuff to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go have my old fashioned, but then I'm gonna have an NA beer on top of it. And then maybe I'll have another NA or another beer, but then I'll have an NA drink on top of it. Now I've been there for 3 hours. I've had four drinks, but only two of them had alcohol in it.
Mm.
I'm gonna feel better tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think of the THC, the that realm of the drinks? Have you the THC infused? Have you ever seen that?
yep, I think they're great.
Yeah.
I stayed away with the passport. I think the industry, it's amazing. I think they're gonna continue to come a long way. I know there was a little hiccup, obviously, when the shutdown ended with some of the wording on how that's not going to be legal in a year. But I think I am positive that something's going to get worked out.
Hmm.
It'll be fine. Um, but it's still obviously you got to keep pushing for that stuff. I had multiple establishments ask me about, hey, what do you think about the THC drinks in your booklet? And I said, the first iteration I'm doing, I'm going to stay away from that. I think as far as just with the legalities go of different cities and states that we're in, I don't
Yeah.
want any confusion. And then also too, in any of my like terms of service and stuff like that, I don't have to have anything with like drive responsibly or even though the odds of all these other passports that exist, the odds of them getting in trouble themselves are very limited. However, if what I'm offering is a place to go get an NA drink, now they're
Yeah.
going to have other alcoholic drinks there, but that's not on me, right?
Exactly. That's why I was just going to say that. Like,
So
you
I
know,
just thought, you know what? Let's just keep it simple. And this first go round, we'll see how it goes. I mean, as we talked about before, like we got 22 places in Milwaukee. If I
That's
had more time, I probably could have had a handful more, but like of all the cities to start, like and here we are. And
yeah,
so it makes sense that it can work elsewhere and it's pretty cool to see. I'm big fans of all these places.
dude. Patrick, I am so bummed we're out of time, man, because I could talk to you that you're just so interesting. We didn't even really talk business stuff. Um,
Next time.
no, but so why don't you do this? Give somebody who's looking to start their own business, because you're fairly new in starting your own business, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
What's one piece of advice you're going to give somebody who's starting a new business, period?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's a learning process. It's there's going to be mistakes. I would say take it one day at a time. What I made sure to do in the first, I want to say 30 days is when I really got excited about this, is that I did something each day. Whether it was, I made sure 15 minutes a day. It could have been tinkering around on my website. It could have been looking up businesses online. And I mean, because I'm basically going to Google Maps and
Mm,
searching cities and bars or restaurants or breweries and then opening up their website. I'm not relying on I tried to make it a little simpler to say, hey, Chat GPT, can you tell me a list of places in, let's just make it up and say Seattle, okay? Well, sure, they can give me business names, but when you say what's their contact info, they're going to 99% of the time it's going to say here's the email, info at that's not their email, okay? It's not. I tried it and I sent a test email and it was like 95% came back, don't exist, right? So back to my point though, I did something a little bit each day, like even the first like 30 to 60 days. And they got to a point where, okay, if I don't like dedicate to 15 minutes every day, not a big deal. Because again, I'm doing this part time. So that for me was huge, just to slowly plug away at it. And then plan to make a mistake. Plan to think like, okay, that didn't go right. I can maybe do this a little bit differently. The first two sets of stickers I ordered were just crap. I mean, and I was like, so I give them away for free because I was like, I don't care. Like this one I had a black background and it was so dark. And the other one I made was the white background with my logo, but it was a little blurry because like I looked at the sample they gave me and I was like, I think it looks good, maybe. But it was on my
yeah,
computer. I didn't really like and it came back. They're a little, all right, whatever. I'm giving those away if people buy them. And I'm not going to try to sell them. But then I made some really good stickers and I still give those people when I'm at events, but like I can put those on my website to sell, or at events
yeah,
just for a couple bucks or whatever. But
yeah.
like I'm proud of that one. I'm proud of the flyers I made that I put the time into that I gave to I partner with Visit Milwaukee and so they're putting stuff up at the Baird Center or at the airport. People come into town like, "Oh, cool." They can think about going to some of these places and using the NA pass.
That's awesome, man.
So,
Patrick,
yes.
dude, once do something every day.
Hmm.
I love that. Yep. Do something every day and you're going to make mistakes.
No.
100%. There, you are going to make mistakes and you're going to hear no a lot. I bet you got to hear a lot of no's.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Now,
I bet.
I will say I was quite surprised with the feedback that I was getting. Like this would like, it was, oh, this is a good idea because there's a lot of buy-in, but also too, it's the not only the no's, but also the not hearing anything. So you can wrap that up into a no, but you're going to do some outreach. If it's not in person, it can be tough, So just
Yeah.
keep plugging away. If you have an idea in mind and you think it's a good idea and it's something new, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right, man. Hey, look, we are out of time, but please, Patrick, go plug yourself. Where
Sounds
can
good.
people find you?
Awesome. So I can be found on Instagram. The handle is Zero Proof Pass. I'm also the 414 underscore Milwaukee as my Instagram, which that started during COVID. I had taken a break from social media and I started up 414 underscore Milwaukee basically just to see what places were doing. I'm like, is this open or how are they doing? I wanted to kind of follow along, and that's kind of blown up into a pretty good account there. But I will say, if you are interested in the passport itself, zeroproofpass.com. Go grab it. You can also grab the passport at a few of the establishments. Hill Valley Dairy and Kenai Cafe are in Walker's Point. They sell the booklet there, as does Lion's Tail Brewing in Wauwatosa, and then also the Urban Milwaukee Gift Shop, which is located downtown Milwaukee.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Dude, there are all those places?
Yeah, so they're in the book, and so I asked them, hey, do you want to have the book here to
Oh,
sell as well?
man.
And there'll probably be a couple more once the new year gets rolling around. We're just going to kind of see how it goes.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm gonna try to hit some of these places you have. Um, so if you have introductions, I would love to interview some of these people. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, by the
Of
way.
course, yeah.
But like if you have, I would love to. I'm gonna continue this through all of January.
Great.
Just if you have ideas of people, hey, Ben, you might want to just interview these people. They have a great story or a great
Sure.
place, and
Yep.
you can drink the NA beer and you can talk their business. I would love to
Awesome.
do that,
That'd be
man.
great for sure.
Patrick, dude, thank you so much. Not
You're welcome.
only are you my first interview of 2026, but you're my kickoff to the dry January, man. And
Love it.
dude, thank you so much for hopping on, man.
Oh,
I'm
you're welcome.
serious.
Thank you for having me. This was fantastic. It's always great to chat with another local Milwaukeean, and
Yeah.
whether it's about beer or not beer, it's all great. I love it.
Cool. Well, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye bye. That's it, man.
Awesome.